So let's talk about perception. In order to do that, I want to use something called higher order visual cortex processing. It's when we talked about a cognitive behavior psychologist. So let's take a look at that. I'd like you to look at this for a minute. Now, there may be some distortion in this, but if you're looking at it, does anyone see some black dots popping in and out of existence? You're creating those black dots. None of those black dots exist. They only exist in your mind. Well, how is that so? Because of higher order visual cortex processing. In the brain, we choose to look at something, and it takes us about 1/20th of a second to recognize what that is. But that image that impinges upon our retinas is then passed to a part of our brain known as the visual cortex processing center, and it creates an image. And therein, each of us are creating our own image. Rev Pam talked about this earlier, about our images, how each of us are seeing an image differently. At any point in time, each one of you is seeing different black dots fade in and out of existence. But if you choose to look at just one dot, one white dot, and focus on that one white dot, that dot does not change. But the dots all around it does. Why? Because our mind is tricking us into seeing something that isn't there. Now that's one example, but let me give you another example that is even more dramatic, and it comes to the idea about higher order visual cortex processing of colors. You know, colors, there's just nothing more than wavelengths and frequencies on the electromagnetic spectrum. And so if we talk about red, it's a relatively low frequency, but a long wavelength. I'm sorry. And if we talk about green, let's say it's medium wavelength, medium frequency. If we talk about blue, very high frequency and very short wavelength. So frequencies and wavelengths impinge upon our retina, and in our retina there are 3 different kinds of cones that recognize red, blue, or green lighting. And we see all the various shades of that due to something called higher order visual cortex processing. So take a look at this. You see this image. We're going through the idea about higher order visual cortex processing. Take a look at the colors of the areas known as area A and area B. Area A and B. Does everyone see that pretty much? They're 2 different colors. They look like 2 different colors, right? Would it surprise you to know that they're exactly the same color? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to short circuit your higher order visual cortex processing. And I'm going to put what's known as a bubble mask over it. So we're going to play a little mind game. When I take an image over it and all I'm going to allow you to see is the areas of A and B, they are exactly the same color. They are identical colors, A and B. What a surprise, because what we've done now is we've just short-circuited your higher order visual cortex processing. We prevented you from lying to yourself that there are 2 different colors there, when in reality, there's only one color there. It's the same color, and our brain fills in all the rest. So reality is a figment of our imagination, truly, and I think this graphically demonstrates it.